Finally, indeed. Hello, people. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, I forgot.
Tired.
Good. Yeah, so good to see you all. Kieran Ansome joining us from London, right?
No, I'm in Glasgow, up north.
Oh, you're in Glasgow. Oh, of course. Yes, you're in Glasgow. Yeah, but you were in London today, right, or yesterday, or anyway? Yeah. Okay.
we don't talk about that.
Well,
no, they've got a lockdown in London somewhere, I heard.
Oh, right. Okay. No, I thought maybe your
Travel
friends
ban,
wouldn't like
something
you.
like that.
Your friends wouldn't like you anymore if you said you were in London or something.
No, I was in Cornwall actually, the deep south.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That was it.
Okay. Well, you made it back. That's great.
Almost forgot.
Yeah. let me go to the other guests and I'll get back to you because I see lots of blinking lights behind you, which are intriguing to me. Ayarcana, Tony, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony.
Welcome.
Or you can call me Tony too.
Yeah, I heard Kieran called you Tony, so
yeah.
Welcome, man. How are
you?
Thanks. I'm good. I'm good.
And you're joining us from Portugal.
Yeah, from Porto. Yeah.
Nice one. What have you been up to?
Just feeding my baby and not sleeping.
Yeah, me too, Tony.
I was going to say, did you sleep? But apparently, it's very unlikely you did get sleep.
Yeah. But it's getting funnier and funnier.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's sleep deprivation.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody's starting to say hello in the chat. Hello, everybody who's joining us on YouTube and Twitch. And hello, Sophia. Sophia, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Good to have you back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been meaning to get back, so it's nice to see everyone. All nice to see you again.
Nice one. Are you New York at the moment?
No, I'm actually in Philadelphia. Oh. I moved back to Philly where I went to high school here. Yeah, my parents are here, so I'm here with family, and well, I live alone now. But yeah, it's nice to come full circle.
Nice, cool. Well, glad you all made it, and let's just get into it because you might have to go early a little bit, right, Sophia? But
yeah, I may have to dip out a bit early. I'll be on for the majority of it.
Let's come up with a sign. So when you make the sign,
just do the elevator and then slowly get out a screen like that.
Slowly backpedal.
Yeah. So disappear like this. Okay, well let's go straight into the blinking lights. Kieran, dude,
I turned them off.
Well, yeah, you did now, but
I was wasting energy.
I was gonna ask you, what are you compensating for with such a big modular?
Just an absolute fucking tiny cock. That's the one. No.
Want to talk about it?
Not really. That was it. That's all I've got for you.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff's addictive. It just grows. Yeah, you probably understand. I can see you've got some gear behind you. Just gets there.
Right.
Like, I'm not in control of it.
I knew you were into it, but I didn't know your system expanded at such an alarming rate. So, dude.
Yeah, she's a hammer.
Yeah.
But I've got more. I've got like another 2 cases down below as well. I don't have space for the rest.
And I have some of these.
Yeah, Tony brought some off me as well.
I can't really tell, but I don't see many cables plugged in. Or have you just wiped your patch, or what do you have going on at the moment?
I leave it unpatched. I haven't made much music this year. Just I was non-stop for like 6 years, and the opportunity to not gig and then also not make music and rest my ears and just almost have a break, because it'd be impossible to take a break in the circumstances of gigging. You don't really want to turn down work when there's work. So I just loved having the opportunity to have a break, without actually having to. Yeah, so I've been chilling. That's not made many bleeps this year.
Okay, but you've been
yeah.
You've been busy though, because I was just checking your Instagram, and you've got this sort of like Rupert Neve looking device going on. What's the
I
story
just started making modular or like modules about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then as soon as the lockdown happened or the gigging stopped, it just gave me a ridiculous amount of time to focus all my energy in that. And I've made quite a few prototypes now. That's the first one that's been released. But yeah,
Awesome.
So it also didn't look like that. I think almost you chose the color, Tony, for the module. Because it was meant to be like a quite, I don't know if you can see it, but the bluey one there.
Yeah, it's
and
kind of a green. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were having trouble getting the right textured paint. And then Tony said his favorite color was, I can't even pronounce it, that art of something.
It's
gray.
like anthracite, like like it's a gray stone.
And that literally
know.
turned the module around. It looked so cool after that, didn't it?
It looks amazing, but
stuff,
it does suggest that it does something along the lines of warming or preamping or something like that, because it reminds you. Is that a deliberate choice? Because it's pretty much the Neve color scheme, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Or I got the knobs custom made in China, so they're the only ones you can get like that. I think they're a bit smaller than the Neve ones, and they're D-shaft, so you can just slot them on. And I had those, and they were kind of Navy, but it was nothing like it. And then when we chose a new color for the faceplates, I only knew it looked like that as soon as I put it together when it was ready to sell. So I was like, oh fuck, sweet. But look, it looks classy. Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it definitely does. So can you give us a little introduction about what it does? What does it do? How does it work?
So that's the first one. That's kind of like it's 3 stages of saturation. So pre, post, and then there's a parallel one in between. And with the parallel one, it has interchangeable circuits. So you can have a fuzz, a FET amplifier, and a clipper, and then it's all voltage controlled. And it has a pre and post EQ. So I don't know if you've ever put something into a distortion. The pre EQ makes such a big difference to how that texture comes out of the distortion. And then with the EQ on the end, it's you're adding bass back in or pushing the highs or something. So yeah, it's just what I wanted, a module I wanted. And yeah,
something you were missing, and then you thought. But I mean, I get the same thing like everybody else, I guess. Sometimes you're sitting in front of your arsenal and you think, if I had something that would do something like this, I think everybody thinks that, but
I guess that's
almost nobody actually goes on and then building the thing,
Well,
so
I guess that's how most of the people building stuff they start.
I don't think
they
so.
want to add something.
I think a lot of the modules that are made are not thought about as much as an artist who performs live would think about it. I think there's a big
but
difference,
for example, I'm reading the book that you told me to read, like the Ray Wilson one, and he actually say that at the beginning in the introduction, says that I wanted to do something that was
like
missing.
I can't.
Kieran is wearing
just had to
wireless mic and headphones, so he can still he can still hear us.
But yeah, I think it's such a beautiful thing to be like. Now I'm finally getting to a level where I understand I could probably make whatever I wanted to. So I've got so many ideas coming out and it's just working now. I don't have to figure out what I'm doing. So yeah, I got loads of other modules almost done, and for me they're useful. So hopefully everyone else thinks that. You haven't even got yours yet, Tony.
What?
You haven't even got your module yet.
No, I'm still waiting.
It's here.
I'm still waiting you to bring it here in Porto.
Yeah, I'll bring it over. We'll get some food. Oh,
Yeah.
have I muted someone?
No. I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh no, I just put myself on mute just so that there's no, sort of.
Okay, I just saw a big mute sign. I was like, what have I done?
Actually, if you keep hitting the mute button and keep talking, you get funny. Get like face like.
So probably better off not keeping it.
So, Sophia, what have you been up to? Any musical new things we should know about? Anything?
Yeah. I guess similar to Kieran, like for me, it's been like it's come in different waves. Like initially, I was like really enjoying the break, and then there was like a few months over the summer where all I did was make music, all non-electronic music, I guess. And then now I'm working on this sound installation for the Museum of Modern Electronic Music, which is opening in Frankfurt. And sort of like I've really been enjoying the again along the lines of what Kieran was saying, like I guess interacting with music from a different angle, like a little bit more visually driven, but like conceptually, versus just like having to just like flesh stuff out just for the sake of it, or because you've got this deadline or whatever. And it's been really nice, I think it's really important, not just like for your ears, but just like resetting yourself, because I feel like you just end up making so much garbage, and that's like that when you're just like under this pressure of just like having to put stuff out.
Well,
yeah.
Is that a thing? Is that a commission thing you're doing?
Well, it's sort of like they've invited like a few artists, to be part of the like the opening, I guess. It's an ongoing relationship, but the first installation is basically like this like sound piece that I was explaining, and hopefully like I can do a little bit more with it in the future, but at the moment I'm just kind of focused on this one piece. And they've got a really interesting like caliber of artists that are like in the opening. I can't really announce it yet, but it should be cool. Hopefully it actually opens soon, obviously, because a lot of galleries and museums are closed at the moment. So hopefully I have something physically to look forward to next year.
So how does it work? I mean, do you you just deliver them some music, and in what context will that be used then?
So I'm actually like I'm building the piece. It's like a physical piece, but then there's a sound portion to it. So it's a sort of like interactive piece where like the audience or whoever's in that room at that time can interact one-on-one. It like there's like multiple pieces to it, multiple layers, I guess. But I'm actually physically building it and then shipping it to them, and then installing the sound as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how does it react, and what? Can you explain what it is? Because I really like stuff that is sort of composing itself or changing itself with interactions. But I assume you have to write all the layers separately, and then they kind of blend in according to how people react to it or how they use it. How does it actually work?
So the concept for this one is like basically like the interaction or like the relationship between humans and technology, right? And so for this particular piece, basically like whoever's looking at the display, there's a glass box, and then like there's like multiple filters, and then it kind of like bounces off the visual, but it goes through all these filters, and then there's a sort of like the sonic, like what's playing is just like the music that I created for it, but actual like visual aspect of it is just the person, and then the visual is just going through multiple filters, and then like it's just bouncing out the visuals like 360 around the room. We're still kind of fine-tuning it.
Like a load of speakers then?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Are you dealing with many speakers then? So you have like a surround sound system almost?
4 points. It's just like 4 points in the room. So we kind of had to make use of the resources that they have there. So I'm not installing my own speakers. We're just using like the museum's resources. But it's so it's not like the highest like audio.
So no
where this is gonna take place?
Like a club system in there, just like it's just meant to be like a conceptual piece.
Sweet.
Where this is gonna happen?
This is in Frankfurt, in Germany. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about these things is that very often, if you're designing music or designing elements for pieces like that, you have to kind of go blind until you see the real thing, or not completely blind, but like in a very sort of stripped down way. Is that true in your case, or?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to be physically there to like install it myself. But the idea is meant to be like where we did like a soft launch for it for this gallery in New York. But the idea is to kind of build it so that it's easily transportable. So you can just kind of install it in multiple museums, like, and just like with the technology now, it's so easy to sync things up. So yeah, the idea is to kind of have like an in the box version that you can just install in multiple locations.
Okay, but right, but I mean that is basically the final thing, right? But if you're do you have the same kind of monitoring or the same kind of visual representation when you're working on it, or are you putting it together piece by piece and then just watch the real thing on some location?
Yeah, so essentially, like the main pieces that are needed are just like the glass piece itself is like it has to come from me. So I'd be shipping the box, and then it just requires just a camera on the like the host send, and then just any sort of set of like 4 speakers that that could just kind of interpret the original idea. And there's a general framework, like a sort of guideline that I created for it, but it could pretty much be installed in like any room, really. Just meant to be as easy as possible, because obviously like I was saying, with museums don't necessarily have like the it's ideally it would be great to have like the best audio, but can only work with what they have.
Yeah.
Do you not find that a bit like unnerving though? Because I would feel kind of almost like I'd be losing something that I could offer if there wasn't the full spectrum,
Yeah,
well, but I guess that's all the point of it.
But is it not changing what you're making, because you only have like you don't have a massive subwoofer, so you can't play in that area. So are you making would it be more melodic or more using the panning or something? Would you take advantage of different things because you're limited in that way?
Well, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think like it also conceptually speaks to the idea, which is meant to be like this interaction between like humanity and technology and the lack of like perfection in it. But certainly like, there's it does get watered down if you can't do things in like a full spectrum. But, you can only work with like sort of the resources that are at hand, and obviously right now, especially just like physically not being able to go there and like kind of test it out and do sort of like sound test, I guess, it's a little like nerve-wracking, but we're just making do with what's available at the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd freak out. I need full control, like.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's how you deal with the fact that you're not physically able to be there, and
trying to
fact that what you're doing is actually something that requires preparation a little bit, like
Yeah, trying to do as much of the work beforehand so that the actual installation component is as fluid as possible, and just like also removing myself a lot lately in general from the idea of like things being perfect in music. I think it's like and just like very much exploring this theme of like humanity, and this like
that's the problem also, to be used to do techno music or like not much electronic music in general, but like techno music is like it's can be not that spontaneous sometimes. And
it's
like rules and.
Yeah, I think it like just again like removing myself. I think from that like idea has been really it's felt like a weight off. Just like remembering that like all of this is meant to be kind of feel human. I guess it doesn't have to. It depends what you're trying to interpret. But in my case, like as I was like going through the like going through all the troubles, as like Kieran was saying, like it was really stressful at first, you know, to not be there. But then I've actually realized that I've gotten comfortable in that process with the fact that it doesn't have to be perfect. And then like it speaks to the topic of like not being
let it go. Yeah.
Interesting. Really cool. I mean, I've done a few pieces like that, you know, like the designing something for to be part of an interactive installation or some kind of audiovisual installation, and then you can prepare to a large extent because usually if you work with people on the project, you know, there's like a common goal of what it should do, what it should sound like, what is, you know, the aesthetics of things. So you've already got a pretty good picture of what you can and cannot do, you know. And the thing is, I mean, half the fun really is that until you see the real thing, everything kind of plays out in your imagination. You know, you can kind of you all the time you're sort of trying to predict what it's going to do and what it's going to sound like, and you never really can predict the whole thing, but it's also part of the fun, I guess.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah. And like goes back to like what you were saying about also just like, you know, during this lockdown, like that, like making music and like just also being comfortable with points where you're not making music, you know, and just accepting that that's part of the process. So just I've thoroughly come to like appreciate this idea of like being more human in my approach to making music and not, you know, just constantly feeling this need of like perfection and things, you know, both like actually in the music that I actually have been making and also just like my general approach, I guess, to it.
The machine.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that sometimes. The machine.
Yeah, Antonio, tell us about your machines, because I really like the really evil looking one, the one with the wire sticking out. How did you come up with that?
That was actually kind of spontaneous too. Like it was in March, at the beginning of the lockdown, I had the necessity to start something new, so I did this kind of noise box that it was like a guitar string in it that you can actually play it. It was just a noise box without any circuit in it. It was just like a piezo mic that you have to amplify and that. So then I was like, you know, with Karen helping me too here and there, I was like just thinking I always wanted to do something like that, and nothing. I just wanted to make a noise device that people can play and people can actually like, you know, people can play as a noise generator, and
it was do or die though, wasn't it, Tony?
What?
You had to find something. It was do or die. There was no gigs. There had to be something else, you know?
Yeah, you know, like exactly what you were saying. There were like no gigs. So I was like, okay, let's fill the time I have, the spare time I have, doing something productive that can give me an income and actually can make me learn something new. Because like I am like electronic wise, I am like very, very, very like I know very few small things. Like again, Karen is helping me sometimes. I'm studying, I'm learning day by day, but I know small. So I was saying to myself, like, it would be cool if you learn also, because, you know, I come from kind of noise music, metal, hardcore, punk, and there is a large community of DIY and pedals, Stompbox, boutique pedals, and stuff like that. It's a huge, large community, and everybody do something. So I was like, and I always wanted to. It's just that I was lazy. I don't know why. I never. Also because like, you know, I was seeing.
It's not so easy.
No, it's at all. If it wasn't for him, that actually also helped
But
me. I
it's
will have probably.
exponential. It's like you really
Yeah,
struggle at the longest time at the beginning, but when you start to understand, you start going really quickly.
now, for
Yeah,
example, day by day, I'm understanding every day more and more, and maybe in a year and a year and a half, I'm gonna know what Kieran knows now. But yeah, no, the idea of doing the impaler was just uh, because I was thinking like, okay, I have to do a noise box and something that people can play. And at the beginning, because the pedals I do, they're also etched with acid. So I actually etched the aluminum with an acid solution. So this is how I print my design on the aluminum. So I was doing tests and I was like etching here and there aluminum stone boxes. And at one point, I etched this Dracula thing on the stone box, and it came out like this. It was like, oh, Dracula was impaling people, so why not put guitar strings coming out from the pedal, and because the pedal is a distortion, it's a VCA, is a distortion VCA, so like people can use it as a distortion itself, so people can plug anything they want in it, and as soon as they unplug a signal in, they can use it as a noise generator. So I was just thinking something that it was matching with the concept of Dracula and the impalation.
Yeah, it looks like these horror movies where they scrape the nails on a chalkboard. That's kind of the vibe
Yeah,
I
this
got
is
from.
this is how it sounds. This is how it sounds
yeah,
actually.
that's what it sounds like.
No, but it's cool because then there is a CV in, so you can actually modulate and open and close the VCA and the distortion, and you can send the VCO and actually harmonize the kick drum that you put it in. You can do a lot of things with it, I guess. So, and now I'm having fun doing it. Now I'm designing more stuff. It's getting slower. It is a slower process for me, like than how it is for Kieran. That is way
Yeah,
more advanced than me.
90% stress, 10% fun. Like,
Wow, I exactly. But I'm having fun.
yeah.
Now I'm designing a delay, a double delay, a parallel delay that it's fucking stressing me out. But especially because I have a kid now and I have to. But yeah, it's fun.
So how,
It's
how do you
not.
how do you get? It's basically a question for both of you, for both Kieran and Antonio. So how do you get started? I mean, I can understand that at some point some kind of concept or idea emerges and you decide, okay, I'm going to build this. But what's next? How do you
I tried
have
getting
to?
started for like 10 years since I was in university, and it was always seemed something impossible. I tried circuit bending, did a little bit of soldering, but I was bad, and I kept dipping my toes in every year, thinking maybe one day I'll learn.
That's you. But I think you were seeing that as something impossible because you just probably were
Yeah,
busy gigging and doing your like South London analog material and doing gigs, and now you just put yourself in, I guess.
yeah, but it is. I think once you, I don't know. I think once I figured out how to design a PCB, and then none of them worked. But then it was that the process of something arriving that looked like a circuit board, and I was like, "Fuck!" It's like I can make those circuit boards. And then once I made those, I figured out how to make the face plates, and then like it just everything kind of took a couple of goes, but it added up on top of each other, and to the point where I had something that looked like a kind of a
Well,
module.
it took so long because I remember when Kieran was in Berlin still, I was going to his house and it was funny because he was ordering like parts like resistors and caps, and he was trying and trying and trying. And the first models he was building, he was printing the faceplates with a 3D printer. And
Yeah,
I have it
3D
actually.
printed them.
I have two models that he did,
It's
and I
so
helped
bad,
him building with. But
so
yeah,
bad.
no, but like this is how you start.
Yeah, but it's amazing to see that something was near impossible is kind of like what I plan on doing now. It's really nice to get over the first hurdle.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I really admire that you have the space in your head and the perseverance to get there, because it seems like a huge undertaking to me. If you once you get into it, you can't really stop. Otherwise you just are wasting your time. You've got to bring it to the end.
Hours and hours just reading old schematics. Like I'll be in bed and usually I'd watch Netflix. I'll be reading old schematics of old synths and enjoying it. I'll be looking through and be like, because now I understand them fully. I'm like, that's how they did that. That's how that controls that. And it's like, for me, that's so interesting now to see that there's.
Yeah, but Ayarcana was saying it's pretty exponential. Like at the beginning, it seems impossible, and after 3 months, what you were doing at the beginning, it's make you laugh, because it's like it's looking way easier than when you thought at the beginning. There's
not much out there to start learning as well. There's not like, there's 100 million Ableton tutorials on YouTube. You can get started very easily. With this, you don't know where to start. So I think that's almost a big gap in the learning like music electronics as well. I think, there's something there that could be done. Because I know a lot of people that would love to do shit like that. So yeah, it might be it. There's that German dude who's just started doing tutorials. But I mean, if he did them when I started, that would have helped me a lot.
Is fucking great. Is fucking great. I did this VCO actually from watching that tutorial. Actually, this is like
Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier.
He's the best. Like I did a synthesizer out of his fucking tutorial videos, and it's amazing. Like and it teach you like really in a scholastic way, like like it teach you really like didactical.
It's because he's German, man.
Yeah, probably.
Fucking boom.
I wanted to ask you, Anthony, what the process that you were
I don't know, man. You have to ask Kieran the name of the dude.
I can load it up.
Yeah. Wanted to ask you, Anthony, about the process that you were mentioning, the acid prints. Do you have molds of the actual prints first, or can you talk a little bit about what you use for that? Because they look great. I was always wondering how you did the etching so that they're all sort of similar.
Yeah, it looks nice, Kieran.
Kieran, we see like just a laser's word.
Oh, there we go.
Moritz Klein. That's a pretty fucking German name.
Yeah, he's cool though. He does a good. Yeah, the etching, amazing. Tony. Sorry, I missed the question, but the etching's one of my favorite things about it.
I mean, even that, even that, it was just because, for example, to make an enclosure looking good or looking like decent, either you screen print the enclosure or either you. I don't know, there's few techniques, but I was looking for something like kind of raw and kind of unique. Exactly. Like he screen prints his own things.
Yeah.
And I can't. I mean, I could, but it's let's say 90.
Strong enough. It doesn't have to pull the screen.
95% of the pedals you see out there are screen printed. So I was thinking, okay, let's do something different that they have a more industrial, rough looking. So nothing. I just bought an etching solution, which is ferric chloride, which is mainly used to etch PCB boards. Like people use that to make their own PCB boards, and it works with not any metal, but it works better with copper and aluminium. But you can use also
with heavy metal.
With heavy metal, with death metal. No, but yeah, and nothing. I tried. I remember the first time I did this engraving of Vlad Dracula on it, and just the first try, it was looking great already. And nothing. It's like it's not very easy. It takes if you have to do a big amount of pedals, it's a pain in the ass because it's not easy. It's like you have to use a lot of it's a long process. You have to do it, and then you have to put it in water, and then you have first to transfer to eat up the pedal, then you have to transfer the toner transfer in it, and then, for example, if the toner transfer doesn't transfer properly on the pedal, you have to repeat this from zero. So and then also the etching, if it doesn't work, you have to sandpaper the pedal and start from zero. So it's not very easy. Now, for example, I did 30 Impaler that they are looking good, but it took me 6 months to understand how long I have to leave the pedal into the etching solution. And you need to use acetone after. It's not a very easy. It's easy to know the process, but it's not easy to get a nice result.
Well, it's kind of a logical thing that these companies now are emerging, or maybe they've been around for a while, I don't know, but for people like you who are doing low volume pedals or modules, that these companies will basically take care of the design and the printing, and you can just buy or order faceplates. I mean, it's not as unique as the way you do it, of course, but I can see how.
Also, Karen struggled with this design for long, until you got.
I've got like a powder coating room and shit. I do everything here, 100%. I build them by hand. I powder coat them. I screen print them, and it's so easy to get everything pre-made, and companies
fully built in Scotland.
Yeah, but this is fucking full Scottish. Like, you can't mess with it, And I've tested every single one. But I think it's too easy to come up with a module and get a company to make 100 of them. But it's so unpersonal, and I like the idea.
It's not unique.
That's why, if I could do the etching like that, I think it adds so much character to it that already you know exactly what that module is going to do. You know what that pedal's going to do. Just by looking at it, it does exactly what it says, and I like that. And I bet not one single one of yours look the same. They all have their own.
That's also another cool thing. Yeah, that's they have small imperfections. And I hope that people who bought it know that.
Then you're not buying from a big company. You're buying from Tony.
You're not buying. But you're not buying this, which is screen printed, and which is an amazing pedal. I love it, but it's screen printed. It's a cool design, but it's many companies do that.
Well, I mean,
which is cool.
I'm pretty sure that people who buy your stuff buy it because you are giving everything like a unique look and feel. Like that's the reason why. Yeah,
that's what is the purpose of Colossus Audio. Like, even the next devices and pedal I'm designing is gonna be something similar. There is gonna be maybe springs. The delay I'm doing is not gonna be only a delay pedal. It's gonna be there's gonna be springs, and you can interact with the pedal, and you can use it as a delay as well. And actually, this is what Karen helped me to do, is to put control voltage in it, so it's not as well only a delay.
Yeah, guitar pedals just have, they don't have control voltage.
It can be boring. Exactly. It can be just used to that. Here, even synth people can, go out from an LF4 or from their modular and plug it in and play with it. So this is what I'm aiming to.
Yeah, so
and I don't want to do models. I want to just do stone boxes.
Because CV inputs on pedals is, I wish some of the pedals I use had them, I mean, the usual traditional pedals have an in and an out and a engage, disengage knob button or whatever, and that's pretty much it.
We did a line,
but having CV on them is amazing
as well. Like so it's not just guitar level. For Tony's pedal, it has a line level switch as well. So like, so you whack a drum machine in, and you can choose like the input impedance basically.
Yeah, basically. So if there is a signal that is like wider, like a guitar that needs more boost, like there is that as well.
Yeah, because
so there is a
most
switch that
people
is
use a guitar
instrument line.
pedal, they just whack it in.
Yeah, and it sounds loud. Yeah, exactly.
We just had a
Well,
question
that's why,
from.
like, when I remember when I first started using them.
Okay, sorry, we are
I
dealing
think
with
there's a little bit of a delay. It's so hard to catch up with who's talking. I'm like, hey.
I know, it's fine. But we got a question from Omvar from Twitch. I'm just. I have to apologize, to everybody. We do see your comments, but it's just a really hard to keep up with everything and get the right question in the right moment. But anyway, what about this question?
I can see this one.
Yeah, anyone experienced with building CVK MIDI sequences? Have you?
Me and Tony have been talking about this a lot, of dipping in and out of using microcontrollers, but I'm strictly analog, and it's something I've never tried before. So it's
that's require also programming knowledge, which is, I mean, you can always find someone that helps you to do that.
Yeah, but it's another thing we have to learn, really.
Yeah, because most of them are C++ programming, like Arduino or something. Like, I mean, it's something else. Like that doesn't imply much to like solder and design.
I think we struggled for ages to do analog electronics, and that's a whole nother area that would have to be learned. But if anyone knows, if anyone's good, hit us up and we'll make a collaboration pedal. Yeah.
When you were mentioning about the 3D printing, was that just for the enclosures, or you were doing the internal components as well?
No, just the faceplate.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
But I originally got a 3D printer to print a modular carry case, so I could carry two modulars on a plane as one single case. And man, if you've never had one, those things are fucking cool. Like,
I have also the first.
Yeah, that's the first pedal.
This the first model.
That's rare, man. You should get that on eBay. I'll probably buy that off you.
The mixer he did.
Oh yeah, that's this. I've got like 20 modules.
Which is
never made
the story of this mixer is funny, because I was struggling with Modular mixer because they have small knobs, and I was like, fuck, I wish I had a nice big module mixer with fader, so it's more comfy to turn it up or down. And he made this, and he bring it to me.
Just for you, Tony.
I mean, which is cool. Like, you have an EQ, and yeah. I have the British Noise Modular
museum. You've got more than me.
Well, Kieran, did you say you printed a modular case with a 3D printer?
Yeah, I got really into it.
That must be a massive 3D printer. I mean, we've got one at the house, but you can only do like small things like this big, or
so I had to do it in two prints, but I got this 3D printer from China, and you had to build it yourself. But it had this huge it was almost like 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, and it went up like maybe 80. It was massive, and I just remember thinking, like, it was only $300 or something. And I was like, I could print a fucking case. So I bought it, and it took me ages to get a nice print. And then I started making these brackets that held my original cases like super tight. And I toured with it for maybe 2 years. And then the guy who makes my cases, Submodular in LA, he ended up making the bracket in the end that connects the two cases out of metal, which was way better. But yeah, for 2 years, that's the way I got around. And there was no other solution.
Wow.
Flying with extra hand luggage, like, it's just a pain in the ass. And it meant if they didn't let me on, I'm not going to check in a 10,000 pound modular into the hold luggage. You know,
Which you do.
I've seen them, but I wouldn't. I would only take it on with me, so it was the only solution.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely want another one.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've been seeing like a lot of these like DIY kits for like just like building like I saw one this by this Japanese designer for just making your own turntable. Like it's a home turntable that you can just like press your own records like at home. It's like the first prototype.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously like it's like, you know, super shite quality, but like the fact that there is like access now to just like more DIY kits like that, I think it's interesting because it allows for like a very basic, you know, peep, but like whether
I loved it. It's such a cool thing to get into.
Yeah,
sure. I think you just had a question, Sophia, that just disappeared.
Yeah.
There we go.
From Cedric, our Discord regular.
I go bathroom 1 second, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Question to Sophia. What's your current workflow like?
Yeah, I guess it really depends, you know, like I will say like that I do always like to keep like an aspect of like nature in my work. I guess like for me, like the starting point is always something musical. Like I've been in situations where I have to force myself to start working like from analog, let's say, and it doesn't work for me myself because I just, you know, just not my starting point. But it really depends. Like when I first moved into this flat, you know, I didn't have anything set up, so I was just working off the floor and like just like making music like just straight from my, you know, just computer monitors. And you know, it was an interesting process because I had never really done that either. But you know, it's very situational. But I always like to start from a starting point of like whether it's sitting down just playing piano for a few hours or just like going outside and just field recording a bunch of stuff and then just like working with texture. Like there's always I always gravitate to like some aspect of like humanity, I guess. Like I can't really just like sit down and just play with a machine and just like it doesn't come to me that way. But
is that just getting yourself into the mood, or is that also providing you with a starting point?
It's definitely like mood based. Like there has to be like a sort of like meaning to it, I guess. You know, for me, it's just like I can't separate myself from just like this formulaic like sit down and just make something. I guess to some extent, you know, that there is an aspect of nature in that too, but for myself, it just has to come from like a more internalized kind of starting point. And in order to do that, it has to stem from like some sort of personal experience, or I have to just sonically be like attached to what it is that I'm, you know, creating. I've tried that, you know, and I can do it from like the perspective, like if you give me a task, you know, but it's not going to be my best work ever. I can definitely sit down and like, I was just working on a car commercial song that I'm like doing some like advert work on the side. And, you know, it was a very like sort of like task oriented, like this is the objective and, you know, I'd make it, but it's not, again, you know, it might not be your best work, I guess. It's more of like a job at that point, you know, just like, so I don't look at music that way. I like, you know, and I have a lot of respect for my friends that do, you know, because it's just a different approach. Myself, it has to be sort of like instrument based, or it has to come from a different, some sort of like personal attachment, I guess.
That's funny because I'm like your friends then, because I when I, you know, I just start something and I get carried away by whatever happens, you know, and it's as meaningful for me as when I would have an idea in advance that I try to recreate.
And if you don't get carried away,
for me, it doesn't.
Then if the track doesn't, if you don't get carried away, then the track doesn't finish or end. You know, it just you move on.
Yeah.
Does that make
exactly.
sense? Like, yeah, but when it gets you, it gets you. You've been there all day, like fucking hell. I've got something to do, but I'm doing it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, I think the way that I'm used to writing things is, or coming up with things, is basically just to stumble upon them while I'm exploring. Yeah, well, not really accidents, but because there is some skill involved to get the
but you're not
sonic realm where you want to be.
100%. You stumble across it, and you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting to make this.
Yeah.
Whereas if you play an instrument, you're like, oh, I'm going to play this note, and this note. Like, no, I had no idea what I'm going to make when I look at the computer or the modular.
Well, especially in techno music, that it's mainly like rhythmic, or like it's hard to.
It just happens in front of you, and you select the bits that you think are the best, and that becomes your song.
You don't do that.
That's how I found it. Yeah, I got a guitar. Tony, I tried to learn it. Doesn't happen like that. You have to
I
be able
remember.
to
I
say
know.
it.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's true that the process is also self-revealing and to many extents. Like you learn a lot just within that, just like accepting the flow of the process. I find myself to that point, Joachim, I would say like definitely like the sound design portion of it, I tend to like really get carried away with that because there's no intent, right? When you're going into that aspect of it, kind of just working with the layers, and then you kind of from it, I think we have a common ground in that sense, that, you know, exploring like not having an intent in that field, but when it comes to the starting point for me myself, it's a little bit different.
Well, not an intent is maybe too strong, because I always do know what I like and what I don't like, and I'm definitely looking for you know, every time I start something, I'm definitely out to get something along sort of like an aesthetic that I'm after, or something like that. So there is definitely a sense of direction when I start doing something, but yeah, it's not that the whole song or track or thing formed in my head before I start making it. You know what I mean? It's like there is a feeling of a direction, and then I'll just come up with something that I think, with a setup or a system, or, you know, a combination that I think would get me there, or get me there to some extent, and then it's just fine tuning things and finding things along the way that that, you know, get it to the end, but it's never really all there, and usually the starting point idea is just that, you know, it might completely disappear by the time I get set. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it is definitely a function. It has a function of a starting point, but it doesn't. I don't get disappointed when nothing of that starting point ends up in the track or in the piece of music I do, you know.
Or it gets sound horrible.
You're not emotionally connected. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But many times I had to, like, I've finished a song and I'm like, what's fucking bugging me about it? And it's because I've tried to keep the starting point in there for so long.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason I made the song. And then usually when I take it out, I'm like, oh, this fucking bangs. Like, get rid of that. And it's the stuff that writes itself in the process where you didn't mean to make, that usually is where the magic lies, I find.
Well, that's what arranging a track means, basically.
Yeah, but it can even be just putting one effect on something by accident, and then you're like, oh fuck, that sounds cool.
Yeah, like a distortion in the master.
Make that the key thing of the track. Yeah. Hey, that's not a mistake, Tony.
Andrew checking in.
It's a funny question. I don't actually love 909.
I don't think I've ever used the 909 hat.
Well, there you go.
You killed him. He's dead.
808. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
No, I don't.
The 909 ride, though. If you're talking about the 909 ride, that's a game changer.
I'm personally. I always. It's funny because, like, in techno music, most of the producers are like really, really attached to drum machines and to the sounds of them, and to use, like, you know, like especially engineers like EBM, you have to use the 707 or the you know, like some sort of, you have to use some drum machine to make it the track sound in a determined way. But I personally never use I'm not a big fan of using the 909 kick necessarily in a track. I actually never use that. I'm usually like love to make layers of different samples and make it sounds as a new thing.
Yeah, I've never used the 909 kick.
Because most of the time in techno music you hear like the overdrive kick drum of the 909 with the rides and the open.
I think we're too late to do anything. I don't feel much inspiration in that drum machine anymore because everything I've seen is kind of done. I think I
He's
could be
abused. He's
more
abused. He's
creative
abused.
with different
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this is my,
Yeah,
my
maybe
this
if it
is
was
what
an
I
earlier time.
Well,
I don't feel like I'm breaking boundaries, you know.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Just
the
whacking
thing
that
is,
sound in. I don't feel I feel naughty.
I mean, with you must know with the stuff that you are designing, the pedals and the modules, that you can throw anything into it and it'll come out completely mutilated on the other end. So
Yeah,
so
that's a
basically,
good point. To be honest, you could make a 909 hat sound like fucking absolutely anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I never enjoyed that.
I love this question, Karen. we should tell him what happened when we went to Superbooth in an after
No,
party.
man, I can't. I don't even remember. You guys.
Exactly, you don't remember.
You guys drugged me up, man. That's not even me. Not even me. Nah.
In regards to like the recognizable sort of like I never enjoyed, like, I know that there's like a sort of like stigma around that, I guess, was like people enjoy hearing like a recognizable sound. Myself, I never thought that was interesting. It's like yes, it's very difficult to be innovative when like the majority of things have been done, but it's also like a more interesting direction for myself, I think, because it's like I don't want people to necessarily know what it is, and I don't want to hear something that I recognize. It's like,
you want them to hear something new on their ears.
Yeah, like just like rework it to some extent. So I know that there's always like, that sort of like acid bass line, it's like 909, 808, whatever kick. But myself, I don't want to know what it is that it kind of ruins the mystery of it, I guess.
Do you remember, say, like the first time you heard Burial or like Blauan or something? These sounds to me I'd never heard before, and I was like, "Fuck."
It's like if you do a track with an arpeggiator from the Yamaha CS80 that he was using in Blade Runner, and even if you use an arpeggiator with that synth with a completely different melody, it's gonna sound like more or less like that, and that's not fun for me. It's like sounding like Vangelis, or it's.
Yeah, I guess it's a little like
techno's not doing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I think that's what's not doing at the moment. Techno's very stuck in a sound, and it's not going anywhere.
Oh, well, I mean, do you really feel responsible for a genre then? I mean, I don't.
No. I'm just saying this is why I'm not like as fucking jazzed about it as I was 4 years ago, because there were so many different directions. I was like, whoa, this is so interesting. But at one point, everything kind of locked into this very thing, and I was like, oh, it's not blowing my mind anymore. I think,
I agree.
Depreciating returns at that ultimately, but like I feel like, at least when you listen to other like genres, that's a nice thing because you're able to like weave in. Like, to me, it's interesting because I'm like, oh, I want to know how that's made, and it's a little like, I guess we're spoiled in a sense because like as a producer, like the more you know, the more you can recognize how things are constructed, right? So, but certainly like the other day I was like listening to something and I knew the exact method how that particular thing was made, right? And it's like that just killed the vibe for me from an interest standpoint. But then like I've just been gravitating now recently like to not listening to electronic music and just like trying to understand how producers from so many other genres are making.
Yeah, also because techno lately became, this is my personal belief. Techno lately
Tony, you don't have to whisper, like everyone will.
Should I say what I think? I'm joking, but like also because techno lately became like sort of a mass consumption genre, like that has to be done and has to be done in a big quantities. Otherwise, you're not gonna play gigs, and you have to. That's why I think it's kind of healthy, this break that we're having now from everything, because people have time to reinvent themselves and say like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to do necessarily 6 months of my year like rave bangers, and they have to sound in that way necessarily. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have gigs. This
Well,
is what.
yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, it's true for a lot of people, I think. Yeah, but to be honest, I've abandoned the idea of having to score stuff in a certain format for a long
But
time. And
you're a
I
staple
want
of the techno diet.
Sorry.
It's hard for you. I think you're a staple in a techno diet. You've kind of earned your place, so you
Well,
could play
maybe
whatever you wanted, and I think people would still very much listen to you.
yeah, maybe, but I mean, I wanted to come back to the using a standard drum machine or not. I mean, the thing is with I mean, I've spent a good 10 years making music where it was my mission to fuck up everything, every single sound beyond recognition, just to make it totally unrecognizable, something really, really sound designy and over processed and stuff like that. And I had an amazing time doing that, and there's something to say for that, just to come up with sounds that nobody's ever heard and that sort of blow your mind yourself, but I also think it's using a standard drum machine like a 909 or whatever, and just treat it in such a way that it doesn't sound as standard as it would if you would just use the raw sounds, but just jamming with a 909 or with an 808, which is a very simple interface. You know exactly what it's going to do. It's like picking up an acoustic guitar or a piano. It's like what the sound is going to be like. You can express yourself on it, and if you can twist it in a certain way to make it sound your own, with filters and split out the drums and use all kinds of effects. It can be a very pleasant thing to be working with. Even though it's a standard thing, and I don't like standard sounds from it that much, unless it's in a massive warehouse on a straight to the PA, then it's exciting again. But for in the studio, like the jams we do here, I very often use the 909. I use it all the time, but it's fucked up, beyond to such an extent that people often don't even know that it is a 909, but it's just really convenient. Sorry?
I was going to say, do you find the shuffle is like not very replicatable? I always put the shuffle on like the second.
I don't really care about. Yeah, I know, but I don't really
swing,
care about.
But if you have like the rolling drums on the swing, I always know that's the hardware. Like
True,
I
it
could
does
never do that on a computer. Yeah, it has this beautiful like ride to it. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm not.
My connection is horrible.
Guy, to be honest. But I usually just use it in step mode, and it's just either playing a full length pattern, or is it in some odd like 11-step thing, and just hopping along with whatever is going on and doing sort of accents and little things. But anyway, but it's. I was. My point was just there is something to say about. Still using them in a unique way, but I do always manipulate the sound to such an extent that it's
but also if you could use those sounds and still make a good song, but with just using them, that's an achievement in itself. Like I still think there's something there. Just for me personally, I think I would rather look elsewhere.
I think going back to to some extent, not to backpedal out of like the original argument, but equally like over processing can also become very dull, and monotonous, because if everybody's doing that, then you lose interest out of that too. So there's something to be said definitely about the simplicity of just like stripping down to like sort of like, because I find myself when I like overly sound design or I get too lost in that, then that can also become very monotonous, and then it's nice.
Do you guys ever get this where I always over process everything till where it turns out no matter what sample I started with, it sounds exactly the same every time because has the same signal. So it could have been white noise, 909 hat, no matter what.
It's gonna sound like white noise.
I always find myself just digging a hole of the same effects where no matter what the input is, it sounds the same, So it doesn't matter if to use a 9 and a hi-hat. You're getting the same shit
Yeah.
anyway.
Does anyone
Yeah,
you
got to be
have
creative.
does any one of you have like a go-to machine or a go-to process when you want to manipulate something, manipulate sound? Is there something you always
Yeah,
go to
absolutely.
rescue you? What is it?
This is the biggest thing for me is I always I'll layer up like a delay, a distortion, and like a filter, bandpass or something, and I'll put loads of LFOs on, and I have this gnarly like distortion thing, and then I'll always change the sound I'm putting in. So I'll leave Ableton on a record mode where I'm just recording in a loop, and I'll just change what I'm putting in, and I don't know what I'm looking for, but there'll be one point, say if it's on 60
Okay.
notes, I'll be kick drums, snares, claps, whatever, and I'll be changing it, and there'll be one point where the sound will be like, whoa. And sometimes it's the point where I drag the new sound in, and it goes like, it thinks for a second, and you get like a weird warp, and then like a, and you get this crazy textures. So I like to have this set up.
That's a way. The process there is basically it's almost generative. So you hit stop, or you decide at the point where you hear it do some thing that you like, and then you say,
you
okay,
you have like an hour's worth of thing, and you just go through and be like, that bit's good, that bit's
yeah,
good.
yeah, okay.
But it gets to the point
Well,
where
not anymore with Ableton 11. Now you can arrange.
Man, I haven't got mine yet. Is that out yet?
Yeah, you can comp from a big sound file. Yeah.
Shit, I've been off the radar. I thought I was on Ableton.
I think I still have the 8. I think I still have the 7.
Shit, is that free? If you buy Ableton, do you get it free, or do you have to buy the new one?
No, you have to get the new one, of course.
So you have to pay twice.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going back to illegal downloading. This is ridiculous.
Man, that's why I got a fucking Windows laptop, man.
I thought that was me for life. I'm paying for Ableton. I was like, they got my back for years, you know?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well. Yeah, shit. That lasted long.
Well, you don't pay the whole thing. You just pay for the upgrades, basically.
Oh, so it is cheaper just to update.
Oh yeah, it's way cheaper.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right.
So, Sophia, do you have a go-to thing when you want to manipulate sounds to make it your own? What is the first thing you do, or is it?
I'm smiling because I feel like I've said this in like every one of the past sessions, and at this point I should probably be like a spokesperson for this particular tool, and it's the most basic thing because it's a stock tool that I use all the time. But I run almost every sound through Logic's Delay Designer. Like, I'm the biggest proponent of this tool. Like, I feel there's so many parameters within it that it's just like, I haven't hit the peak yet or the ceiling of like losing interest in it. But yeah, I run everything through the Delay Designer, and I have yet to find like a sort of like analog version of it. I guess that gives me the same level of like options, but it's just.
Did you still using Logic?
I'm still on Logic. I don't think
I did all my university with that.
Yeah, me too. I studied that when I did sound design.
I forgot it existed. What do you use, Jochen? Ableton.
Yeah. Well, yes.
So I thought everyone just used Ableton from now on.
Well,
no,
but I mean,
not really.
I mean, if I started on Cubase and trackers before that, but Cubase was the first serious program, and then when Logic came out, the first version, it came from Notator, but as soon as Imagic released it as Logic, I got Logic, and I was in there for a long time, and I liked it the way it sounded.
I liked it. I really liked it. It sounded awesome.
Yeah. And then when Ableton came out, I switched to Ableton, and for a while I was in between Logic and Ableton, but I was really intrigued by the, this elastic audio feature.
Yeah,
because
the way you chop audio is.
Yeah, I was always, even when I was in Logic, I had
the rewire.
I used that for a while too, but my process at the time when I was using Logic was already quite audio based, but I had to use samplers for it. I make basically do the same thing you now do in Ableton. Just chop up your sort of long recordings and zoom into sounds, isolate them, make banks, so make like shit, whole keyboards full of variations of of one sound or one loop or whatever. And of course, Ableton was doing that in such an much more easy way,
It's
So
so
When is
friendly.
this?
It's so friendly for that. Like,
yeah,
So
it's
when
basically
are you
the
talking
world's
about?
most advanced sampler. If you
yeah, you can build your own instrument with your
yeah.
own samples, and you do your own instrument.
Which Ableton are you talking about? When did you switch over? Like how long ago?
I got Ableton at version 1. Like
Really? Because I don't even know what that's like. I think I started on version 7 or something.
Okay.
I don't think you were born, Kieran.
Yeah, but it's so interesting to imagine like what you just switched over. Like they just had like the drum sampler and an EQ
Well, there
or
was,
something. Or what did it have?
at that time there wasn't really there was no YouTube or anything, but there were
Yeah.
like forums, and there was talk about Ableton coming out and what it would do and stuff, and I just visited the website or the URL that sort of showed up there every day, and one day I thought, maybe if I, instead of www, if I replace that with shop, let's see what happens. And I landed in the shop.
Did they have a download?
Yeah, I landed in the shop before it got
CD?
released, so I was able to buy. It wasn't protected or anything. Yeah, so I bought it before it even came out. So it's yeah, so that was a funny story, but I used it from day one basically, and then because I wasn't really happy with the sound, like the way it was summing and everything.
Especially if you come from from Cubase or Pro Tools,
yeah,
or that kind of DAW, which is like mainly audio, like processing.
Yeah, the mixing and summing features in Logic were a lot better at the time. So what I would just do is just make my shit in Ableton and then stem it out and then mix it in
fact,
or in Logic. So I was
if you go to a recording studio or like a mixing studio, like with like a band studios, and they all have either Pro Tools, either Cubase, either Nuendo, or all those like they see Ableton Live as a DJ. though like if you go with your band to record your album to a recording studio, they all have this kind of DAW that I mean, it's a different approach. They made this DAW that lets you play with it, basically. That lets you build your instruments. And
yeah, these days though, I've been using Ableton more as a tape machine, so it's basically a multi-track recorder. I use pretty much hardware for everything, and I just split everything out, and everything comes up on a different track.
Did you work with some?
That's not my dick. There's a question that popped up. I don't know if you guys saw it.
It's even a nice one, but I was asking something to Josh. Like, did you work back with some of like with Pro Tools or stuff like that again, or like you just stick with Ableton since you moved to Ableton?
Yeah, but like I said, it's I'm using Ableton basically these days to assemble audio and kind of put the final touches to it, arrange, move things around, use the sample features.
Are you still quite hardware based then?
Well, still no, yeah. I mean, I've been inside the box for a while, but at some point I was just getting the impression that it was slowing me down a lot, and I'm just a lot faster on hardware. So basically, that's what I do now. I mean, this room is perfect for that. I've got the space, and
yeah, we can see that.
Yeah, no, but the room looks pretty perfect to me, actually.
Yeah, I don't have to. When I come into the studio, it's always different. There's always a different setup going on, and it's always it's never the same, and that keeps me sort of inspired. I just make a new setup for every project, and everything ends up in Ableton, and then that's where it's get edited and mixed and finalized. But the process is very much hardware based.
Yeah, I do enjoy for tracking instruments and mixing as well, because the workflow of Pro Tools to me is a little bit more intuitive than more similar, I guess, to Logic's. than able to. But I think I'm still on the learning curve for it. But I have a question about Bitwig, and I know we've spoken about that before, Jochen. But I think Bitwig is quite promising in that sense. I'm very much on the learning curve for it still, but I gravitate more towards Bitwig than Ableton, just because I feel it's like a little bit more in line with my flow.
I just saw some questions about Bitwig. Someone was asking about Bitwig as well. I saw that online. It looked pretty cool. I like the idea of you could make a track online with someone. Oh, look, it just popped up.
Yeah, that was one. Yeah.
But is Bitwig the one made by one of the Ableton?
Yeah.
They split up and they.
It does look good though. The idea of the way you can do stuff.
I have a friend, I don't remember who now, that is using that since I don't know, but I have someone that is using that I don't remember who now.
Yeah, to my understanding, it was some of the former engineers who worked at it. I'm not. Yeah,
that's what I knew.
But I guess I think maybe in theory it was like it kind of meant to like supplement the things that that were not existent in Ableton. I'm not as familiar with Ableton myself, so but I'm enjoying the process of acclimating myself to it. It's very promising, I think.
You need to reload old Reason. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Original Reason. I used to love that. That's what I started on.
It's the best. Fruity Loop.
That's grime. Grime. You can't do that unless you're making grime music, boys. It's gangster shit right there. That's what Jay Tyne uses. He always goes on about it. Loves it.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Jonathan, let's address Jonathan. He's been trying earlier. Jonathan Terrell.
Sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah, the piston Honda, man. That changed my life.
That's a bit of hardware, though. Yeah,
that's a bit of hardware. Oh, well, it's a device. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's a tricky one, man, isn't it?
An artifact.
Just anything. What's changed your?
Yes. I mean, I recorded a bunch of samples with this, and with I made some holes too in it, and I recorded a bunch of samples with the violin bow on it, and they came out this weird, eerie, horror sounds.
Like the street.
They're weird, and I use them a lot actually. I put them in the second sample pack I did. There is a folder made out with them, and that's a thing that blow my mind, because when I use it with the violin bow, it was like something. Wow, I was like, oh, this sounds like an horror movie. Like I heard this on an horror movie. Like that's cool. So for me, this.
Yeah, for me, the human voice. I was trying to get in Georgia. It's actually it's insane.
Wait, no, but you say your voice or someone else's?
I think personally that's the best instrument ever. Like I think human voice is the best instrument.
It's insane. So in Georgia,
not my voice.
We have polyphonic singing. In Georgian folk music, we have polyphonic singing, which is just like this incredible.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I know there's some.
I was trying to get
is that the throat fixing?
Well, not quite. So where the story is headed is in that direction, though. So I was trying to simulate it similar. So I had a vocalist come in, tried to record him, and then one thing led to another, and he's like, I was like, how much further can we stretch this, And then he's like, I can do Mongolian throat singing. And the next thing you know, this guy's doing throat singing. And I was just like, I was just in
I know it's beautiful because there is all these dissonant things happening in Jordan choirs. In the choirs, there is it's pretty cool.
But it's for me, it was just studying how far you can stretch that, it's sometimes the most incredible things, mind-blowing things are very simple. Well, I guess not so simple. I personally can't throat sing, but I was absolutely amazed by this guy. It's just what? He's like, but wait, there's more, It's just wow.
Can we ask the commenters a question because there's someone
I have
called
to go bathroom
Hey
again.
Mr.
Sorry, guys. One second.
Booth, and I'm really into that. No?
Sorry, what? You want to ask the commenters what?
No, I just saw someone's name was Hey Mr. Booze. I was just like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who it is, but I'm into it. Yeah, for me, the answer would be I got one of these little Ebos. I bought a guitar, can't play guitar, tried to learn, can't learn, just not, that ain't me. But I got one of these, and you can just whack it on a string, and it makes it resonate.
Yeah.
And then you can just play, because it was the picking hand that the thing takes a while to get used to, and I could just play the notes I wanted to. And it was so eerie, because it just drones out like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
for me, that was like,
yeah, it's fun. In like
yeah,
sort of like prepared music's also like just like sort of like sticking objects onto the strings to kind of just give it like different resonance. It's a lot of fun.
What on the strings?
So like similarly like on the like so the internal part like piano, like you could just like prepared notes kind of, it's like in theory like it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Just push it in so many different angles, like it's like infinite possibilities.
Yeah, I think there's something being an electronic musician. There's something about flirting with real instruments, because you always think you're a
Real
fraud,
instruments.
coming from.
I mean, it's all about. It's all
Do you know
about,
what I mean, though?
No, but I think I just don't see the difference. You know, it's all tinkering with stuff until you get.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's always something in the back of my mind that wants to flirt with real instrument, like physical pianos, keyboards.
Yeah,
Because
okay,
I've grown up doing electronics. That seems now the more out there wild concept is a guitar.
Yeah.
When really, that, for me, that's out there.
Especially the combination. Yeah, especially the combination. You know, I mean, but anything that has something physical to it. You know, whether it's just banging something on a metal door, or like having a spring going through the air, or like blowing into a tube. You know, all that kind of stuff. Is basically, you
do go to the physical realm, though. Once you leave, you want to leave the box.
Cool. I remember.
You want to go outside.
I think it's very close to trying to find the the range of a synth is very much the same as trying to find to get a good sound out of a tube, or you know what I mean?
Out of anything, like what can I do with?
Same, yes. What can I do? You know, how far can I stretch it? You know, how can I make it sound with the way I want? You know, it's pretty much the same thing.
Like to put in paper, on the bass
someone was
meter
first to see the synthesizer.
Yeah, I think I agree though. It's like
it's the same thing. I think it's.
Sorry, there's a delay. Yeah, I think
I can't get a grip of this delay.
The interplay between like the acoustic and sort of digital to me is the most interesting realm, because it's not really one or the other. Yeah, like there's no superiority in instruments. It's all real instruments in a way. Just like I do enjoy like acoustic to digital, and then going between the two, flirting between the two. It's an interesting space.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Antonio used strings on his pedal. It gives you a way, more intuitive way to interact with something. You know, if it's something you can play or interact with your hands. You know.
Yeah, like the first pedal I did. Like the first pedal I did, there is the harmonica mortgage, and it's like, and there is a guitar string in it, so you can. I'm gonna show you. I think that is some. Which is this. I mean, it's a thing that I did and have, I put a guitar tuner, and there is the guitar string, and you can tune it and play it, and you can actually play it with also the violin bow, and you can do either short stuff, and you can do also long sounds, and you put this into reverb, and you play for hours without having thousands of samples at the end of the day.
Are you familiar with the Resonant Garden from built by Folktech?
Yeah, no. I've seen that.
I think that's very similar to what you've built.
Okay,
it's basically the same thing. You know, it's
the Sonic Forest as well.
Yeah, I think it was. I'll just let me get it 1 second. It's basically a machine with 4 sections that have. I think. Oh, Sandra is getting.
He's
It's
on the ball.
yeah, I'm not sure if it's piezo or I think it's their guitar pickups, to be honest, that are
Oh,
inside.
nice. That's even better.
Yeah, and then it's basically it has three. Yeah, you could just rip the cord.
No, not that one.
This one. It's got these
Yeah.
guitar strings sticking out, and these three units are basically
Oh, very
DSP
nice.
DSP effect processors. But basically, yeah, it's a really nice machine to interact with. It's a performance thing, you know. So you instantly feel like you're playing something because you are playing something. You are interacting with it. But like you said, your machine of your pedal with the string and you know some effect, you know, can keep you
Busy
interested for
for
hours.
yeah,
Like with this thing,
exactly. Like
if you turn this thing on, you know, you know, next time you look at your watch, it's like 3 hours later. You know, it's crazy. It just keeps on going. It's amazing. It's a really nice way of interacting with instruments if there's something physical to do something instead of just clicking around or you
yeah,
know.
that's what personally I'm aiming with Colossus. Like just building stuff that you can play with as well. Like yeah, they
Yeah.
are pedals, they are effects, but also which I'm not the first and I'm not the last doing this, of course. Like it's full out there of stuff like that. So it's just as Karen was saying before, maybe soon I'm gonna be able and good, and I've been learned enough to do what I think is missing, which is the I think is the key point is be able to know what you want and what you think there is not is not available
Yeah.
in
Once you know what is possible, you know what you can do in that
yeah,
structure.
man, that's
And
that's
yeah, you could
that's
bring
that's
something
some
new to the
Elon
table.
that's some
It's
Elon Musk
exciting. It's
quote.
exciting. Yeah.
Been thinking a lot lately, like about what I mentioned, like prepared music before, like sort of just sticking like, you know, random objects into like the instrument and just creating like more experimental, generating more experimental sounds out of it. And I was like, obviously it's done a lot with acoustic instruments, but been thinking like how it would sound if you did like prepared digital instruments. Obviously you probably get a lot of random noise from it, but like just kind of mutating like electronic instruments and seeing how that goes, because it's so interesting in acoustics, like when they do prepared piano, for example. There was an artist, Maria Chavez, I think was her name. I remember she put out an album. It was like she had just kind of the sound was just basically coming from like broken vinyl, and you know, it just like generates this really strange rhythm. And I think that's a really cool approach. I've also been thinking recently, like obviously you definitely mess up your needles if you did this, but if you did like sort of like splattering paint onto the vinyl and like letting it kind of you know, and just playing the output from that, just basically like reapproaching the way digital instruments are, you know, are constructed. And you know, you'd probably have to have a lot of older gear that you don't mind messing up at that point if you can afford that. But if you have something broken, just seeing like how far you can push it, not just relying on the standard way that you're used to hearing it being played.
Do you not think there's something to that though, where there's people that search to make something new and make something different, use stuff differently, and then there's some people that just look at the box and read off a couple of like kick drum, hi-hat, synth line, boom, done. And some people really don't even give a shit about that whole other side. You know, for me it's so weird to think like that. I always think there's something new you've got to bring, or something creative, try something different. But do you know what I'm saying? There's like a
These are people
clear
with
divide
ADHD.
sometimes.
With the ADHD. No, I'm joking.
No, but sometimes people just reel off tunes because they need to reel off a tune. But I always feel like there's a bit of a judgment out there. Like I kind of need to make something different, or even just to please myself. Use like recorded sounds myself, you know, and manipulate them, make different textures and stuff. I don't know. There's for me, I think it's strange to have that difference where people need to do that, and then people don't even care about it, and will make a banger in the computer because it just ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I belong to the first category. I just like to tinker with things, you know, and see where things end up instead of setting out to write a song,
Yeah. Yeah, but there's always got to be something creative driving it, I guess, or there's something in it which makes you think you're doing something different to someone else. Because no one's here just to make a copy of a song,
The
right?
problem is the scene. In general, it's so saturated that it's so hard to do that. And this is what I think is most of the times like people are kind of scared and lazy to try simply, and they use standards instead there is the easiest way.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the easiest way. It depends on how easy
Yeah,
it takes to be.
exactly. Exactly. It cannot be at all the easiest way.
Yeah.
Being lazy
Being
is
lazy is
fun.
fun. I know. I love to sleep. It's my favorite thing.
I think what you mentioned, Anthony, like the fear aspect of it is really the most interesting thing for me, because I think you need both. You need both approaches to it. There's no superiority in music. It's like equally like we're talking about like having access to like being able to even experiment with instruments. Like, what if you can't afford to have an analog instrument? What if there's a kid out there who can only get a digital software? Like, that's totally fine. And I think separate.
But I know.
The fear of like this is the standard, like you're saying. I think that's the best thing, is to just be more accepting, right? Like, just like whatever everyone has.
They can make that music on that laptop.
I know, but
that's not what we're saying.
you can do crazy stuff with your laptop.
Yeah,
you can do better stuff with your laptop than I do with my stupid Modular.
Oh man, if I mean if I love using hardware, but if my studio would burn down to the ground, the first thing I would get was a new computer.
That's all you need. That's all you need. The rest is just for fun, man. That's all you need.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just all self-indulgent, fucking around.
Yeah, it is.
No, true. I mean, it is
insanely.
I mean, the computers and DAWs are just insanely powerful, just incredibly powerful. There's no limits, But it's as much as powerful as they are, sometimes the process can slow you down or be a bit I don't know, not as fun as just walking around and having your hands on actual machines or playing an instrument or something like that.
Yeah, for me sometimes it's harder to make nicer stuff on the Modular, but it's the times when I've got a track that's almost perfect but I'm missing one thing, where I'll reach the Modular and I'll make something fit there and then. I'll squeeze it in manually, and it will work.
Sometimes I hear stuff made with Modular and then I see video of people doing that with the Modular, and it's like crazy systems, fucking rocket science to do 2 blips.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
and I don't have nothing against it. Everybody, music.
Yeah, but what you have to remember is maybe that guy couldn't have made those beeps. Maybe he wasn't inspired to make those beeps until he looked at that machine and it started beeping, and it's like, that's what I need. Sometimes the machine is there for you as like.
Sometimes you look into the machine and the machine looks back into you
and goes beep. Beep.
No, I mean, in a way, it's true though, because you do have a different relationship with a piece of hardware. It's actually
true what Kieran's saying. Yeah,
it's almost like having an extra band member. If you have a machine that has its own life and doing quirky things and sort of.
I always have this concept of you can turn an Ableton on, and it will be doing nothing. But if you switch a Modular on, it'll be making noise. If it's like it's the sequence is going, like it'll be doing stuff. It's always on. Where for me the computer's very dead unless you have to get really involved.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is about you, for example.
Hello, my man.
Yeah.
When you can just unplug a cable.
Yeah. But that was one of the best sounds I discovered, was unplugging a cable.
And that's the jack.
And touching it, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, well, even unplugging something or plugging something in an existing patch, or turning something on the next morning when you've sort of were patching the night before, or you making a setup the night before, and because some things they've reset, or they've gone back to default settings or whatever. If you turn it back on, some really surprising things can come out of it,
Yeah.
by
It's
by just
alive.
it's exactly. Sometimes those are even amazing starting points. Just now it's doing this. Let's see where we can get it.
No,
What I like
mine
is when it goes out of
was just a
time.
joke. Anyway, I don't want to offend nobody. Everybody do.
Tony, you've offended everyone here the entire time.
I didn't
Don't
start
worry
to
about
talk
it.
about trance music yet, so
Okay.
Don't even get.
I want to see some people arguing on the
Oh,
chat.
let me get ready for this one, Tony. Oh, fuck.
You have to smash your Baileys bottle there first.
Man, it's already almost gone. It's fucking delicious. That's Christmas spirit for you. Christmas. Wow.
So
Right, should we actually answer some of these questions? I think we've answered like 3.
Yeah, we've been ignoring the people in the comments way too long now. So okay, let's.
I feel really guilty. Yeah.
Let's pick one. Let's see.
Oh,
somebody got
someone
offended.
said, "Let's talk about trance."
Somebody did get offended. Sorry to Seth. Let's find one. Let's find a good.
The clothes are going to come out.
Let's talk about
The
trance.
clothes are coming off. Oh, the claws are going to come out. Tony, you're the best at English. I love it. Oh man, I'm digging these comments.
Okay, question for Kieran.
Oh, I'm fucking dying. That's brilliant.
I
Look at him. It's having
I don't
hard
remember
time.
that.
It's someone that knows you.
I am a good chap, and
Okay.
Yeah, this
guys,
is easier.
People. Tom Lecce. I hope I don't butcher Tom's name, but Big Trouble.
It's
Tom has Big Trouble
Lisi.
creating a good kick or bass. Okay. So this is about separating the bass from the kick, right? I think
quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is they can't be in the same space. So get them out of the way of each other, and whatever sounds good.
Yeah, I don't use bass. I have kick or bass. There's no two together. Unless if it's a bass line, I shift it up into higher harmonics, distort it so it has presence in the high end, and then leave that low end. Did you
never use don't you layer kick drums together with the sub?
Yeah, but that's a kick. I called a kick a kick. I have like 10 kicks. I'll layer.
But we're not talking
another
about
version of the
frequency.
exact same kick. Yeah, but with an actual bass line, if that's what you're talking about, they can't really exist together. You either have a
I usually cut a lot of bass from a bass line.
Yeah, and distort it so you get the power in the upper.
I usually use the bass line as a guitar riff, so it sounds more like with bass cutted and more like low mid frequencies in that.
Yeah, you need to pick. There's only so many frequencies, especially in the low end. It's very sparse down there. You need to pick where you want stuff. So if you want the bass to rock at like 200 hertz up, destroy all that area from the kick. You have to make space for the two. It's the same with the kick. If you want a really subby bass line, you can't because your kick's there. I
was going to say, I mean, you have to make a choice whether your bass is going to have the sub or your kick is going to have the sub.
Yeah.
Because both is fine. Whatever suits the track the best. You can have a really subby, dubby bass line, but then your kick needs to sit somewhat above that frequency range.
But also the decay of the kick. If the bass line's heavy, have a short decay, so it pops. Bass fills up the space again. You have to you can't have a fucking massive long ass kick like boom, and then the bass line going wom wom at the same time. Unless you make the track slow.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like I said in the
exactly.
beginning, they can't be in the same space. So you have to make a choice. Either, I mean, they're always going to compete somewhat, with each other. But
But
I mean, that
to
is
answer the
if you
question,
write,
maybe.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
the thing
sorry.
is, in my music or the way I think about sound, I don't really separate. I mean, I just got bottom end. That's whether what I mean. It's like sometimes there's always sub or bass going on, but it's not necessarily something you can clearly identify as a kick or a bass line or something. That's not the way I write music.
As long
There's
as there's
always going to
something
be some
there.
bass. Yeah, there's something there, but it's where it comes from. I don't know, and I don't even know how it got there. It can be from.
But yeah, maybe a more useful answer would be if you have the both, sidechain the bass away from the kick, or use something like an automation to duck it out of the way. Just make sure that they're both not there at the same time and they'll both
Yeah.
hit fucking hard. Just make the space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can't be. There's only so much space.
I really like this question actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is your solution then? How do you separate them?
I don't know. I'm about to launch a new project which is completely different from what I used to do. So
Oh, this is the new question. It only just popped up for me.
yeah. I like is for me this is what I found easier to do, just launching a new project where I can do different stuff, because in tech personally lately I got a bit bored with techno music and I don't find much inspiration anymore to do something different or do something else. So I just launched a new project that I'm working on now, and it's completely different from what I used to do. So for me, it's basically maybe like just use new alias and do different stuff. Which I guess it's not only me. Like like there's many producer out there and many people that have more than one alias. What's that? Oh yeah,
I'm
I
just
know what's
answering the
that.
questions and the comments. Don't worry about me.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on, Teddy. Someone asked if I still have a bit of
No,
gear.
no. It's yeah. I mean, what I personally am doing next is gonna be something more close to my roots, which is kind of going back to metal sounds and EV slow. I really like slow music. I really like slow electronic music, and it's in the techno scene. It's not very appealing. What I saw around, but this is what I really like, and this is what is gonna be my next step. Is starting to do way less fast stuff, more slow, give more space to the music I'm producing and I'm writing. And
But with the same intensity or
Yeah,
yes,
of course. I've heard some
yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Heavy, always heavy and pretty. I'm doing a lot of melodic stuff recently, but for example, I always had trouble to use melodies in 140 or 35 BPM music or techno. I always had. This
Yeah,
is
I can't go
personally
above
probably.
138. I'm losing it.
Yeah, but as soon as I slow down the BPM and I start to do 105, 80 BPM, 90 BPM music, it's for me it's easier to fit a melody or
There's
to record
space.
a
There is
guitar.
space
I
for all
tried,
of this
yeah, I
production you
tried,
want to do as well.
I tried many times to record a guitar riff into a techno track, and I have many tracks done like that, and all the time I'm at the end I'm like, this sounds cheesy. It doesn't sound
Someone
good.
said so
But
neurohop, but that sounds actually all right.
Euro.
you're all, which is like,
Yeah, well, I mean,
what's that?
like
It's
just
like
highly
neurofunk.
produced,
It's like
kind of like say like highly produced, kind of same kind of style but slower hip hop tempo.
oh yeah. Like I'm a big fan of like like J.K. Flash or Justin Broderick and like Godflesh. I come from more or less that stuff. I come from
Yeah,
sludge, doom, metal, and stuff like this. And I always wanted to combine that with techno, and at the end I failed because I never were able to do that. But yeah, like glitch up is pretty cool too. Like, but
there is
that's easy. What go?
there's something to say about working in the, because we're techno, as we've been stuck in it for the last couple of years, it's like 120 to 140, right? We've got that space to play in where if we go out that space, we're maybe not considered techno anymore. But there's something amazing about going way lower than that, or even way faster. There's more up there.
Or even way
You
faster,
start-
exactly. Like,
yeah. You start doing
yeah,
half
but
time, double time. You
I was
can
going
do
to
some
say,
really
because
crazy stuff.
yeah, I mean,
Nero Up sounds like a sketchy discount shop.
I mean,
In Ireland,
once
maybe.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it's slower and faster. Once you get like to speeds like 80 BPM or 90 BPM, it could as well be
Flip it,
double that
double
speed.
time. Yeah.
Or and the other way
Someone
around.
wrote that I should make some industrial stuff.
What's that?
I don't know. There is a comment saying that I should make some industrial stuff.
Should think about it, Tony.
Yeah, probably. I've been making tech house all these years.
In my opinion, you have, Tony. You fucking cunt. I should stop drinking the Baileys. To be honest, it's escalated beyond control.
This is what people want, man. Like
Techno
No,
and
just-
Baileys.
Techno and Baileys.
You were talking about hip hop, Kieran. Like I think like being back and to answer the question in a way, like being back in Philadelphia, especially because there's obviously a lot of hip hop culture here and roots to that genre. I actually started working on like, funnily enough, like very like grime oriented or grime influenced, but like fusing a lot more like of the more like ambient electronic stuff that I was making for a while, and it's been really interesting. Like just rhythmically, but also just like the sonic palette. Like it's been so nice to just like focus on that project and start making just like I found myself having like the same inspiration that initially got me into electronic music to techno, I guess. And I mean, it is still in a way electronic music, but I've been doing a lot of that. It's like hip hop oriented, grime, ambient infused something, but I don't know what it is quite. And I'm enjoying that, like the fact that I don't know what it is, and then just like exploring that is a lot of fun, and just working with vocalists or like rappers for the vocals. It's a lot of fun.
Like for example, one of the only track that I was able to put melodies in it and do a nice thing. It was the track that I released on your label, Sophia. Like
it was, and it's a ridiculously insane track. I still listen to that. Like
that's probably the only one that I.
And honestly, from your, not because obviously like it was on my label, but like from your catalog, I always gravitate towards that one, and I'm a big fan of the bulk of your music. But for some reason, that one for me was always a standout. It's a standout track because it's just I don't know. It felt like you had a lot more freedom in it. It was really nice.
Exactly what I was trying to say. Yeah, that's probably was one of the few tracks that I was able to do to get a violent mood, but still melodic, still creepy, still
so
like.
Yeah, you killed it. It's so good. I love that.
But it's happened one track every 50.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like it's hard for me at least. It's hard to do that.
So are you saying that you have like an ideal wish list of stuff that should be part of your track? Like you said, you are really after certain combinations and trying to fit melodies into your rhythms and stuff like that. But are you disappointed when you are not able to fit it in there, or are you just going with whatever it becomes then?
Yeah, I just
Or do you have like, or do you have this ideal track? You know, the perfect track you always want to make.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I do. Yeah, I do. And it's kind of exciting because that's kind of what at the end motivates me to do more. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I've heard people say on this chat quite a few times. You know, they are basically always trying to make that sort of perfect, the same track. You know, there's sort of the track they have in their heads, and that would be their ideal outcome. You know, to make that track. But every time they do something, it's an attempt. They never get there, but still they're always trying to do it. Is that true?
exactly.
Is that true in your case? Okay.
Yes, and that's actually a thing that's kind of exciting because it can be annoying. It can be makes you really pissed because you can look at it and see like, fuck, I'm not able to do that. Like I should give up. But no, at the same time you're like, no, that's cool because like maybe tomorrow I will be able to do that. And then you try and maybe you fail again. And at the end, you try many times, and at the end, there is a few times that you reach the goal that you
Or get close to it. Yeah.
or you get close to it. But that's actually also I don't want to say it's a motivational feeling, but it is because you want to. I sometimes I go sleep and I think on what I will do there here and there, like what I would love to do the next day, making a track, and then the next day it's I'm not able, but still I do something that gets closer, and then the next day I do something else. So yeah, it's
Tony,
kind of
do you not think that's literally your music is just a wake of stuff you tried to do, and
which is
you're
exactly
trying to make something else, yet people latch onto what you tried to do, and that's become your sound. Yet you've got something else in your vision going this way, and then by the time you've left this stuff behind, people are then like, "Oh, I don't like that dude's changed his sound." Yet you're just still trying to find the initial thing, and
exactly.
that's just in the wake. That was that year, you know, like that's.
Yeah, and people
I
think that you
remember
change the
that.
sound, and when you didn't change the sound, you're just trying to do
You're
what
like,
you want.
none of that was me. That was me trying to sound like this. Like what? Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. That's a musician's entire career, though, isn't it? It's just left in the
yeah,
dust.
yeah.
Pick up the pieces. That's what I've left, and some people love it. Some people don't.
Yeah, and ever growing chain of fails, basically.
Yeah,
Or attempts. Maybe attempt is a better word for it.
Like
yeah,
life
yeah,
is, I
definitely.
guess, no? Like in general, like
Oh, Tony, don't go there. This is fucking music.
yeah, it's too much.
Getting all herbal on me.
Anthony, when's the project coming out? Do you have plans? Do you know when you're gonna sort of like debut that?
Well, I have a label which is gonna be Veil, which already I released on like last 2 years ago, something like that. And I have also a few collaboration that I did. I ended up collaborating with the singer of Uniform, which is a band that I followed for like 2 years. It's a very cool band from New York City. It's like an hardcore industrial electronic band, and he's pretty kind of big too. Like, and I ended up collaborating with a singer, but I'm working slowly to it because I don't want to rush up things because like I don't have a commission. Like it is still a commission, but I wanna make it good. So yeah, probably is gonna be like mid 2021.
Nice.
Yeah, there is a good question for you.
Cool.
What is it?
Actually,
Your favorite whiskey.
now we're talking about future stuff or new releases and stuff like that. I mean, we've been talking for nearly 2 hours. I don't want to break up this conversation, but I don't want to waste your evening either. Usually at the end, we go do a little round, and each of us can kind of promote or plug their stuff, like to the people who are still hanging on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kieran, what I mean, I really encourage people to check out his module, British Noise. What is it called? British
Noise Electronics.
Yeah.
But also, if anyone
Check
plays
that out.
Call of Duty, Daddy Raw Dog 69. I'm on there all the time. That's what I've been doing with this year. Just Call of Duty. Hit me up. Yeah, and the modules as well, but whatever. That's it.
Well, that's I am sure it's plenty of stuff to check out there. What about you, Anthony? Anything you want to promote, push, advertise?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I'm working on next pedal that is gonna be out. I don't know when. Nothing. Yeah, just the new project too that I just talked about, and nothing else. No.
Okay, that's good. Sophia?
The most unproductive year.
I don't know so much for the promotion aspect of it because I'm enjoying not promoting things for this time period that we've had. But I do have a record that our like my label Tuscanade's split between myself and a friend. It's a drum and bass record on vinyl. It's coming out in February. Sorry. I'm pretty stoked for that. And then just working on a lot of non-techno music besides that. But yeah, if anybody's interested, check it out. But other than that, that's about it.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's see if there is a last. I see Sophus. Hey, Sophus, come on the show sometime, dude. Would be nice. Hiroko. Oh, I think we're both clicking at the same time now. There's a new bottle of Bailey, so we've got another few hours to go.
The cider.
Stay here and watch here and drink
Christmas,
Bailey.
Baby. Christmas.
Been on the cider wave.
Daddy Raw Dog 69. Not Raven, but yeah. Hit me up.
Thank you, Joachim and Anthony and Karen. It's nice talking to all of you.
Thanks to you guys.
Yeah, it was great talking.
You,
great hanging out, and have a really great holidays. Also, the people who've been watching this and have been sticking with us on YouTube and Twitch.
I'm gonna be sick.
Maybe last thing I wanted to mention is our Patreon page. We have a nice Patreon page. You can get nice sound packs there, masterclasses, everything, and you can support this podcast or this whatever it's called. And we have a Discord server where about 1,000 nerds like us are hanging out every day and chatting about gear, music, and stuff like that. It's a really nice place. If you're new to the game, have a look there because there's a shitload of information about music production and stuff like that. So it's worth checking out if you're into this. And that's pretty much it. So let me wish you all a very, very nice holidays.
You too.
Thanks for hanging out. And see you. Actually, we have another one, a last one on the 30th of December.
Yes.
It's going to be a very busy one. So if you have nothing to do and no life, maybe join us there next week. Otherwise, we'll see you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Otherwise, we'll see you next year. And have a good one.
You too, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.
Hey, wait, no life. Cool. I'm about to piss myself big time.
Yeah.